very good evening and welcome to World Now at 4. I am Peace Ogenegbawe. First, let's talk the headlines. On the headlines, FG sacks workers with fake employment letters. Sierra Leone police troops patrol Freetown. On the international scene, Cuba loses over $150 billion to Western blockade. And on sports, Amaju Pinnick shuns third-term agenda. Now the news in detail. No fewer than 23 ghost workers have been uncovered in the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing in Abuja. The Federal Civil Service Commission discovered the civil servants whose employment letters were discovered to be fake. It has therefore ordered that the affected persons be disengaged from service. The head of Civil Service of the Federation, Folashade Yemieson, has been lamenting the presence of fake civil servants in the nation's ministries, departments and agencies, that is MDAs, since the beginning of a tenure. The panel set up within the ministry on the matter had recommended sanctions for the whistleblower for breaching public service rules. In a letter dated May 9, 2022, the Director of Recruitment, FCSC, Ibrahim Anjugu, directed the ministry's permanent secretary to ensure that the 23 ghost workers are disengaged immediately. Copies of the letters were also sent to the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, and the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation. Benue State government has demolished a property allegedly belonging to a former chief judge of the state for being used by kidnappers. The demolition followed the arrest of 2 out of the 4 suspects in the failed kidnap attempt that was busted by the Benue State Police Squad in Makurdi, the state capital. While addressing journalists, the special advisor on security matters, Paul Hembe, said the demolition was in line with the Benue State laws.
Our special crime unit busted their activities. 2 of them were arrested, and 2 others, including the kingpin, are on the run. But hopefully we'll get them very soon. As you all know, the state has zero tolerance for kidnapping activities. And we have a law in place which provides that whoever allows his or her property to be used by kidnappers as a den, we have that building demolished.
It was observed that the affected property is not a structurally defective building, but a residential apartment along Makurdi-Boku Road. Away from that story, we move to this one where Nigerian Inspector General of Police, that is the IGP Usman Alkali, has raised the alarm over a plot by criminal elements to attack public institutions and structures across the country. He ordered tight security surveillance on schools, hospitals, health facilities, and other critical infrastructures to forestall any emergency. The IG also ordered regular patrols, stop and search, raids, and show of force by tactical commanders to clamp down on pockets of crime in some states. Emphasizing the urgency and importance of the new security measures, Alkali charged police officers to exhibit courage and serve with compassion in line with the policing theme of the Buhari administration. For some years now, the country has been battling with insurgency perpetrated by the Boko Haram sect, ISWAP, and other terrorist groups. And we now move away from that story, and in case you're just joining us, this is Well Now at 4 on Hills TV. Reflections of the life and times of Fidel Alejandro Castro Ruz took center stage at the University of Abuja in collaboration with Embassy of Cuba in Nigeria, celebrated the 96th posthumous birthday of the Cuban legend. In attendance were heads of missions as well as ambassadors of Mexico, South Africa, Palestine, Zimbabwe, and others. We now bring
transition societies such as Africa have been enjoined to embrace the rule of law above the rule of man as part of lessons from the life of a one-time Cuban Prime Minister and President, Fidel Alejandro Castro Ruz.
Here is a system whereby the law, every sector of society is held accountable to the laws of the land. What we are contending is that Cuba under Fidel Castro has been able to do that. And arising from that, we have a society that emerges that has been well organized, focused, determined, resilient, and so on and so forth, to be able to develop internally and also withstand external pressures and hostility.
Dr. Idris Othman Jibrin is one of the panelists while recounting the lessons from the life and times of the living legend, urged all present and indeed Nigerians and Africa at large to build stability independently.
The axis of the so-called advanced countries of the world, that is advanced countries of Western Europe, Japan, and United States of America, for you to enjoy stability, good governance, and development.
Also speaking, Dr. Asala of the Institute of Peace and Conflict Resolution pointed out the three revolutionary agenda of Castro as education, health, and biotechnology, while enjoining all and sundry to learn the lessons of peace.
In terms of education, Cuba, under its leadership and up to this present time, are still maintaining the legacy. It made education to be compulsory for all Cubans from the age of 6 to the age of 18. In Southern America, Cuba has the best medical services for all the citizens. And I was able to achieve this. It was as a result of what it determines to achieve in his own country. This man was able to introduce it and to make sure that he achieved the aims and the objective of this biotechnology in totality.
No fewer than 634 attempts was made on Fidel's life before he died of natural causes on November 25, 2016. Peace.
May his soul rest in peace. We now move to other parts of Africa when the news return. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Police officers and army troops patrol Sierra Leone's capital, Freetown, after a demonstration organized by women on Wednesday to draw attention to inflation and the rising cost of living descended into clashes between security forces and young men demanding President Julius Maada Bio resign. While controlling the crowd, army officers used megaphones to appeal for calm. They also told residents that it was safe to resume their daily routines.
Of course, we are all aware that August 10 there was an insurrection, violent insurrection. And so there is that fear in the minds of people. Some people are even afraid to come out. Some do not have confidence. There is so much apathy around. So what we are now doing is to build that confidence.
Spokesperson of the Sierra Leone's Defense Ministry, Colonel Abubakar, said it is an assurance patrol for the public to give them assurance that there was security and peace and everyone could go around their businesses.
Let them know that the security forces are around.
Very simple, it's a assurance patrol for the public to give them assurance that there is security and there is peace and everybody is to go about his normal business.
Report has it that at least 10 people, including security personnel, were killed during clashes between the protesters and security forces. And dozens of Ivorian soldiers held in Mali has been accused of being mercenaries have been charged with attempting to arm state security and remanded in custody. Judicial sources in Mali said the Bamako prosecutor charged the soldiers on Friday with an attempt to undermine state security. Meanwhile, negotiations between Ivory Coast and Mali to obtain the release of 49 soldiers were continuing, with Togolese President Faure Gnassingbé acting as a mediator. Ivory Coast has denied the accusation and demanded the troops be released, saying they were reinforcements to the UN peacekeeping mission in Mali, that is the MINUSMA. The arrest of the soldiers after their arrival at Bamako airport on July 10 has sparked a diplomatic crisis between military-ruled Mali and its West African neighbors. And moving away from that story, when the news returns, it's going to be time for World News after this break. Welcome back. Now let's move to other parts of the world. Guards at India-Pakistan border performed ceremony on Independence Anniversary. It was a great moment as Pakistani and Indian border guards took part in a daily ceremony at the Wagah border post as Pakistan celebrates its 75th anniversary of its independence. Crowds went wild and soldiers goose-stepped in a chest-puffing theatrical ritual symbolizing the country's antipathy after independence, but the display ended with a brisk brotherly handshake. And now to New York, where the state governor, Kathy Hochul, has condemned the cowardly attack on author Salman Rushdie, asserting that a man with a knife cannot silence a man with a pen. Hochul disclosed this in remarks at the Chautauqua Institution, the Western New York literacy community, where Rushdie was stabbed by 24-year-old Hadi Mata of New Jersey. Hochul noted that New York State will always stand up to protect freedom of expression and freedom of speech.
But I will tell you right now, as your governor, New York State will always stand up to protect freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and we condemn the cowardly attack on Salman Rushdie. And we condemn any individual or any group that dare violate the sanctity of a place like Chautauqua or to attempt an assassination on a world leader. That cannot happen in New York. We're standing up. And those who are motivated to violence because of calls from foreign leaders, even domestic leaders, calls.
According to the county prosecutor, the author's injuries include 3 stab wounds to the right side of the front of his neck, 4 stab wounds to his stomach, a puncture wound to his right eye and chest, and a laceration on his right thigh. Rushdie, over 74 years, faced Islamist death threats for years after writing the satanic verses and was taken off the ventilator Saturday and was able to talk. A crowd consisting of mostly Taliban militants attended a spontaneous rally at Kabul's Shah Massoud Square as the headline Islamists marked the first anniversary of their return to power in the country with a national holiday. Exactly a year ago, the hardline Islamists captured Kabul after the nationwide lightning offensive against government forces ended 20 years of U.S.-led military interventions. You're still watching World Now at 4 on Hills TV. Up next is Business News. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's time for business news. The Office of the Auditor General of the Federation of Nigeria has queried the Nigerian Port Authority, that is NPA, over the failure of 15 port terminal operators to remit total sums of $753 million and 1.61 billion naira to the federal government of Nigeria. These operators are the Lagos Port Complex, Tinkan Island Port, Delta Port, Rivers Port Complex, Onne Port Complex, and Calabar Port Complex. A query issued by the office, which is contained in its report being considered by the Committees on Public Accounts in the National Assembly, said the amounts formed part of the debt standing against the operators as of December 31, 2019. The AOUGF, in the annual report on non-compliance, internal control weaknesses issued in ministries, departments, and agencies of the federal government of Nigeria for the year ended December 31, 2019, said operators were indebted to the government to the tune of $852.094 million and $1,878,560,509,054 kobo. About 150,410,800,000 at current price has been lost in 60 years to the Western blockade of the Republic of Cuba. The Cuban ambassador to Nigeria, Clara M. Pulido Escandel, lamented these while highlighting the effect of the Western world blockage on the Republic of Cuba during the 96th posthumous birthday celebration of a living legend and one-time Cuban President and Prime Minister Fidel Alejandro Castro Rose.
Since 2019, it has been threats and coercive measures against even ships and companies linked to fuel transportation going to Cuba, trying to avoid our capacity to generate electricity power and to have our industry producing, and also to provoke more difficulties for our people.
This was held at the University of Abuja in collaboration with the Embassy of Cuba in Nigeria. We move away from this and we move straight to sport news. Let's stand by for Richard on sport news. Do stay with us.
Good evening and welcome to Sport News on World Now at 4. I am Richard Badum. On the news, Nigerian Football Federation President Amaju Pinnick has stated clearly that he will not run for the position of the presidency for the third time, promising to work with whoever succeeds him after the September elections. Pinnick on Monday morning stated this that there are so many Nigerians that are capable of being the next NFF president. Promising to assist and work with anyone who wins the elections, Pinnick, who is the first Nigerian to win as NFF president 2 consecutive times, had earlier declared he would not contest again for the same position after Super Eagles failed to pick the World Cup tickets. However, the NFF has been foot-dragging on scheduling of NFF Annual General Assembly, that is the AGA, which set the ball rolling for the elective Congress. But that seemed to be over as the Federation set 18th September 2022 for the Annual General Meeting in Lagos and promised that elections would hold in September this year. Away from that story, let's let you know that to the English Premier League, that Chelsea's boss, Thomas Tuchel, has actually been among the story as Premier League managers marauding down the Stamford Bridge sidelines in celebration or confrontation is hardly a new thing. On Sunday evening, the Blues boss, Thomas Tuchel, and Tottenham head coach Antonio Conte went head-to-head, nay face-to-face, even nose-to-nose, in an escalating squabble that ended with both receiving post-match red cards. Commenting on the development, Chelsea coach set the game at the better of his emotions.
Well, you know, I just compared it to 2 players who have a bit of fight on the field, but nothing happens, nobody gets injured, and then the players, if you have a hard tackle, a fair tackle, and you don't go later and apologize, and there's no need. It's Premier League football, and the 2 managers got involved today because both of us were fighting for our teams, and that was it. Nobody got insulted, nobody got hurt. We didn't have a fist fight and something. So, for me, it's not a big deal. It was part of it today, and it
Meanwhile, Spurs gaffer Antonio Conte looked in control of the situation as a side were able to cheer from the Spurs at the Stamford Bridge.
For sure, I'm not pacific. If I see aggressivity, and then my answer is with aggressivity. Yeah, for sure. But I repeat, this is not a problem, and the most important thing is that the game was a great game, but to enjoy, I think that for what happened, I think we did enjoy, yeah, and yeah. But next time will be.
Other matches to be played later tonight in the Premier League. Liverpool will host Crystal Palace at the Anfield Stadium by 8 p.m. tonight. And that's the sport news on World Now at 4. I'm Richard Badung. Back to Peace for the rest of the news. Going to. We apologize for that mix-up. The Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Mohammed Musa Bello, has appointed Gadia Gamiya Bawa of the FCT Legal Services Secretariat as the new Solicitor General of FCTA to succeed Yusuf Wodi, who is due to retire from service on October 1, 2022. In a statement signed by the Director of Information and Communication, FCTA, Mohammed Azat Sule,
The new appointment is contained in a letter and signed by the Director of Human Resources Management, Mohammed Bashir, on behalf of the FCT Permanent Secretary, Olushade Adeshola. Wodi is to proceed on his 3-month leave, pre-retirement leave. Barrister Bawa was born February 28 in Donga local government area of Taraba, and he was the Director of Legal Services before his appointment. And that's World Now at 4, but before we go, here are the headlines again. We told you that the FG has sacked workers with fake employment letters. Sierra Leone police troops patrol Freetown. On the international scene, Cuba loses over $150 billion to Western blockade. On sport, Amaju Pinnick shuns third-term agenda. Remember to visit us on Facebook at Hills TV, Instagram at Hills TV, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Hills TV. I am Peace Ogenegbawe. Thank you for watching.